Skating. You know it, you love it, and it's been a staple in the gaming community since 1986, when Atari released this really cool looking arcade cabinet. And you know it's cool because it has a beatbox strapped to it. Anyways, the child of this arcade cabinet was actually the first ever skate game, 720 Degrees. This game actually introduced a lot of core mechanics to the genre, like a timer, getting points by doing tricks, and even a skateboard. What? As well as having a lot of cool new dip flip features seen in future titles, it also did a handful of things that never appeared in other. Some of these flip features included a top-down view, buying skating equipment, and having bodybuilders that assault you. That is not a joke. I couldn't make this up if I wanted to. So let's talk about the gameplay. It's fun. You start up the game and poof, an orange-skinned boy is born. You have a timer, which the game barely tells you is a timer at all. And if you run out, this text shows up and it's all like skate or die. And this tumbleweed of death comes at you. Personally, I think this is a really great spin on the whole timer gimmick, allowing the player to continuously explore the map, all while running from the swarm of bees and pulling off some cool tricks. And by some I mean one, because all you can do in this game is spin, hence the name 720. Of course, there was some downside to the game, the obvious being the lack of tricks meant that the game could get stale pretty quickly, as well as the fact that in order to spin, you have to rotate the D-pad, which is always a horrible fucking idea, since it shreds up your hand like some goddamn shredded cheese, as well as the fact that you're going to be doing this a lot, so you might as well kiss your left thumb goodbye, Daniel. Not only that, but there's just way too much fucking water. Like, seriously, what town do you know is this much water? Atlantis maybe, but last time I checked, no one lives there. Probably because of all the water. Just get rid of the water. Jesus Christ. Anyways, after that skating game, 2 years went by before EA came around and said, fuck it, I want to make a skateboard. Spoiler, they made a lot. Boom, skate or die. I don't really have much to say about this game, to be honest with you. I never really grew up with it, and it was always just kind of a mystery to me until I played it recently. Now, what do I think of this avalanche of a game that nearly revolutionized the entirety of the skating genre? Drumroll, please. It's alright. Like, I'm not a huge fan, to be completely honest with you. I can see how it was such a big deal at the time. It was cool and edgy, or at least as edgy as the 80s can get. I just don't really like it. Probably because this game isn't as open as the others, so I'm sorry if you like this game. It just isn't my jam. One thing Skate or Die does really well that 720 doesn't do is that it actually has tricks. Yeah, Skate or Die has a huge margin of tricks compared to 720, aka 6, but that's besides the point. There's actually tricks. Unfortunately, it would take us 11 long, painstaking years before the world of tricks and, well, world would collide. And when it did, all gamers would collectively stand up and thank our benevolent gaming gods. Of course, I'm talking about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is just such an amazing and life-changing game for me. I don't even think I should be talking about it personally. It obviously means a lot to me, so I'm going to save it for last, and in the meantime, we'll talk about some other skating games that were important to the skating genre. Also, a disclaimer, I'll probably be all over the place with the timeline just because I'm too lazy to go in order. So, cool, let's move on. I feel like when anybody brings up a skating game in a conversation, it's always either the big T or it's Skate 3. And even though that was just a rhyme, it's pretty true. It seems like Skate 3 in particular gets a whole lot more love than all of the other skate games. And since that's the one I have on my Xbox, that's the one we're going to be talking about. So, Skate 3, in my eyes, is like a pen pal. You know, I never really got as attached to Skate as I did with Tony Hawk. And that's probably just due to the fact that it's a lot more slower paced and less arcadey for my slow ass donkey brain to really appreciate. I still love the flick it controls that the game introduced to the scene. Did you know that the controls came before anything else in Skate? It was also the first game to have that control scheme. I don't even think they knew it was going to be a skate game beforehand. I don't even think they knew what a video game was. Wait, what's that sound? Is that coming from my TV? What kind of black magic is this? That's right, because we're not in the shitbit era of gaming anymore. We no longer have tunes made up of beeps and boops. Hooray! And as much as I love every single 8-bit song from the bottom of my heart, you just cannot have a skating game without some bitchin' tunes. So hey, guess what? This game has some really shitty music. None of it's something I'll ever remember, and even though it had some really good songs in there like Cracklin' Rosie and Going Up the Country, there isn't anything there that I would ever listen to by itself. All of the music in this game just screams either edgy boy, smoking wee wee, or like the lightest amount of hip hop. Again, I'm sorry if you really love this game, it's just not for me. Anyways, now that we're done talking about the soundtrack, let's move on. The game itself was meant to have a much more realistic and serious approach to it than Tony Hawk, but as a result, the general pacing of the game took a hit, mostly due to the fact that you go in a fucking snail's pace and skate compared to Tony Hawk. It also meant that there were a lot of companies that decided they wanted to hop onto this hipstick bandwagon. May I present to you Shaun White's Skateboarding, made by Poopysoft in 2010 to rival Skate 3 and cash in on the skating trend. This game never really found its footing, and it kind of got shredded in the process, which I find kind of funny because Tony Hawk Shred was also released that year. This game has a bit of a love-hate relationship with me if you weren't able to tell already, because it does a lot of really cool things that blew me away when I first saw it. It also does a lot of dumbass things like turning you into beads when you die. He is not made of beads, he's a flush! One of the really cool things that the game is known for is coloring the world, but as a result, you're going to be doing this a lot if you like colors, which is pretty damn annoying. In the meantime, let's actually talk about the world. The gray, dull world. Ubisoft was perfectly able to represent what cardboard tastes like with the world design. That's not a bad thing, by the way, because it's kind of for the theme, you know? Working the theme out. The story is that the world turned all suit and ties from this company called the Ministry. Ooh. Now, the Ministry is kind of just a bunch of assholes. You never really get any backstory on how they came to be or why anyone thought it would be a good idea to hire them. They just happened, and also they made everything gray and poopy. Luckily, this is where you come in. You're the man with the plan, with your charming looks and the power of creepy old man. You can turn all this gray shit into colored shit. Basically, anytime you do a dip trick, even an ollie, the ground below you will start to colorize. But here's the kicker. If you do a lot of tricks and get this meter high enough, you can start changing the roads, the lands, even the people. Dude, you can make this cat puke if you wanted to. Now, the downside of this is that it takes a while for anything to actually get started, because since the world is all gray and shit, the music doesn't kick in until enough of the levels is colored. And we'll get to the music, trust me, we'll get to the music. But just let me finish up here, because this is really important to the gameplay. So, because you need the world to be more happy before you can jam to the soundtrack in this, you'll often see yourself doing this for a good 10 to 20 minutes before it actually decides to do anything. Now, this wouldn't be such a problem if it didn't happen so consistently. For most of the zones you go into, it always starts off without the music until A, you get enough of the world colorful, or B, you finish an arbitrary mission that kicks the music off. I can hear you asking, why the hell do you keep bringing up the music? Well, the reason behind that is because I think that the soundtrack in Shaun White Skateboarding is the best one in this entire showcase. I am not joking when I say this. The music is fucking incredible. It's like this beautiful mess of rock, alt rock, and its own subtle taste of upbeat playfulness. I have too many fond memories of the soundtrack, and a lot of the songs in here I still listen to. Some honorable mentions in this list are Daylight by Matt and Kim, Take Me Out by Franz Ferdinand, and I Want You To by Weezer. Oh, I fucking love Weezer. That's not even scraping the surface of the amazing songs in this game. Whoever picked these songs, I love you. Also, thanks for putting Jungle Boogie in there. Let's get back to tearing into this piece of shit. Keeping up a combo in this game is easy. So easy, as a matter of fact, that it becomes tedious just to keep it going. The way a combo works in this game is that for the duration that you aren't pulling off some Mick twists, the meter will go down until you have 0 points. Now, this wouldn't be a problem at all if it didn't tick down so damn slow. Like, seriously, it's not the mechanic itself that sucks. Skate does something very similar with its scoring system, but the difference between Skate and Shawnee Skate is the speed of which the meter will go down before it decides, no, you suck. Back to the drawing boards, kid. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's delve deeper. The tricks suck too. Like, honestly, not only is it impossible to tell which trick you're about to do, which removes any skill from the game, but you also have to purchase a majority of the tricks in order to actually pull them off. Like, hey, Ubisoft, why did you think this would ever be a good idea? Having to purchase tricks isn't why I came to play your shitty ass game. The idea with a skating game is that you give yourself a goal and then you go out to achieve it. With Skate, it's usually pulling off certain tricks in a certain order to look like an absolute mad lad. But the challenge is usually pulling off the tricks in a satisfying sequence since EA decided to jam pack all their tricks into one joystick. With Tony Hawk, it's building up this holy shit of a combo while also pulling off a multitude of tricks. Now, of course, you can do this with just 3 tricks, but that will never get you as high of a score as you want. Instead, you need to study all of the different tricks and learn over time which tricks do the most score. With Shaun White, I don't even think tricks matter, because you could probably just beat the whole game by listening to Bob the Builder go on and on trying to be funny. You will never be funny. Just shut the fuck up. Now, even though I just fucking obliterated this game and basically screamed at it for a good couple of minutes, I still love this game just for the soundtrack alone. Music in skating games are a huge deal, and sometimes it can be a make or break decision in whether your game was good or great. And while this game was mediocre at best, the song selection alone made the entire experience worth it, and I highly recommend you play this game. Before I gush to you about Tony Hawk, there's one honorable mention I'd like to spit out there. True Skate. True Skate, if any of you have taken a look at the App Store or Play Store, depending on your cellular device, you might have seen this game. Out of all of the games I've shown you, this is probably the one I've played the most, embarrassingly. For a mobile game, it's pretty damn good. It has no music, but since it's on your phone, none is required. All you need to do is boot up your nearest music service, press play, and bam, there you go. Now the game's soundtrack is your soundtrack. It's like you're a DJ, except you're not, because all you did was press play. Anyways, now that we got some bopping beats, we can finally get to the skate. So how the game works is that your fingers are supposed to be your foot, or your hand if you're doing a grab trick. For something as simple as it is, it still has some of the most intuitive controls out of all of these games, and by far the best controls I've ever seen with a mobile game. They're really tight and fun to use, with a lot of game feel to add the extra juice to the experience. And a brand new feature never seen in a skating game before. They actually know how to handle bailing. This is a stroke goddamn genius. Instead of other skating games where you go into ragdoll or turn into beads, this game has a very versatile way of handling bails by practically removing them from the game. You now have the opportunity to still maintain your momentum without having to wait 7 years just to get up. Like, it's fucking brilliant. I'd like to talk about one more part about TrueScape before I move on, and that would be the level design. Now, I can't say this is the same for each park in the game because I'm poor, fuck off, but I can confidently say that the starting skate park in particular has some amazing level design. Let's run it down. So, the prominent colors you get in this park is red for ramps, yellow for the rails, and blue for the giant bowl in the center of the park. Now, because everything goes around the bowl, everything's kind of shaped like a racetrack, but here's where it gets interesting. This level is filled to the brim with weenies. No, not those weenies. The kind of weenies I'm talking about is a design weenie. What these weenies are meant to do is catch your eye, usually so you can go towards them. And this game does a really fucking good job at it. It's really good at catching your eye. not only because of how common they are, but also because the colors of these obstacles are colors of caution. And the colors red and yellow are quite literally used in everyday design to catch your eye and you warn you of something. Why the fuck do you think stoplights are red and slow signs are yellow? It's meant to catch your eye easily so that you know, hey, stop the fucking car. These rails and ramps are almost exclusively found circling the pool, almost always having you follow the best path around the park. It's fucking beautiful how they lay out because no matter where you are, you can always see these weenies, and they will always have you going towards it to do some badass trick on it. And finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, Tony Hawk. Am I even allowed to talk about this game? Like, this is such an important game to me. I just feel like I don't even have the words to express the gratitude I have for it. I remember the first time I played this game. Let me take you back a bit. My dad had just gotten the Xbox 360, and with it, he had Tony Hawk's Project 8. I remember just being fucking floored with this game just because of how fun and awesome everything was with the music and the beaver and the sick. So I went back to this game a couple years back after seeing it just sitting there picking up dust. I put it in my Xbox and just I became overwhelmed with so much emotion. It's one of those things you can't really express with words, but everyone's experienced it at least once. I can still go back to this game and remember so much from when I was younger. I remember when I watched the intro to this game for the first time, and the guy did the fucking primo slide while the music pulled this Matrix. Or when I saw Rodney Mullen and he pulled off whatever nightmarish bullshit this trick is, talking to the colonel and blowing up the clock tower to unlock school. It was a simpler time, and I know I could talk about the design, but I don't think I should. I don't think I'm allowed to. This game, by my standards, is a masterpiece, and for me to analyze it would just be a disgrace to the franchise. Skating in video games is a weird phenomenon. It's kind of funny how perfectly skating fits into the design of a video game, while also sticking eerily true to the main core of the sport. I've always loved skating ever since I've picked up these games. I thought it was so cool, all the creativity that skating could bring, as well as just the rich history of it all. The creativity part is especially something I'm very fond of, just because I've always loved making stuff of my own. I mean, why else do you think I'm making these fucking videos? I love talking about this shit. It's a very fond part of my childhood. I hope you enjoy getting to hear it. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. Hey, what's up? Did you enjoy the video? Consider giving that subscribe button a tetanus shot. You could save a life. Please subscribe. I had a lot of fun making this, and as of writing this, my previous video has almost 100 views, which, like, that's holy shit, that's a lot of views for me. I know it's not that much, but holy shit, I'm so thankful for it. Also, all my friends who helped me promote the video on their social media, as well as giving the amazing feedback behind the scenes, just like, holy shit, you nearly made me cry. I love you guys so much. And I'm so thankful to have you. I plan on putting all of the soundtracks to the games in the description below. I recommend you check them out if you really like rock. Again, thank you so much. Also, thanks again, Jackson, for the Elgato. I love you. Okay, bye.